Do you even know what false scarcity is? Grow your own food. The corporations that run the world aren't your friends, man. Hello and welcome back to Antidote 2023. In the last episode, we talked about what humanity struggles with as a result of money and what new struggles we'd face during the transition to a post-currency world. Today, let's talk about illusions. And no, I'm not referring to magic. It's going to be kind of a serious topic today. Okay, but a necessary one, I think. Now, the first illusion, okay, there isn't enough to go around. Enough of what, you might ask? Food, clothes, houses, medical, money, right? The corporations are keeping it for themselves. They're throwing it away. They're giving it to the rich. They're saying fuck you to the poor is what they're doing, right? Houses are too expensive. Can you afford to buy a house right now without a loan? Good credit is necessary. You're going to need enough money to put down a deposit. Okay, you can't just go out and get a loan whenever you want. It requires it has some prereqs. Okay, some prerequisites are there. They exist before you can just get a loan to get a house. All right. One of those is having a job. Are you living in an apartment? Are you living with your family or your parents? Are you desperate for freedom? Too bad. At least that's what these corporations seem to think. You know, they don't seem to care very much because they push on despite the effect that they have on people's lives. None of it makes a whole lot of sense, you know. And I'm sure you're probably thinking, or have thought before, shouldn't people want what's best for others? Shouldn't the CEOs of these corporations want what is best for other people? I would like to think so, but it's not that simple. It's not so cut and dry. Another question is, maybe people are inherently evil? I don't think that either, although that's been a pretty hot response to a lot of the things I've said. You know, whenever I vouch for or show that I have faith in humanity, people tend to ask me or bring up that phrase, that question. I don't think people are inherently evil. No. One, because corporations are fictitious entities. They have no beating heart. They have no consciousness. They're just a compilation of goals. They're not people. Now, the people pushing the corporation to meet those goals are not the corporation. They are just doing what the corporation needs them to in order to survive and get bigger, right? If people knew, right, that they're hurting others, if they know that they're hurting others, aren't they the ones that are bad and not the corporations? I've been asked that before as well. Well, my question would be, are you trying to defend a fictitious entity? Are you trying to defend something that's not real, that's not alive? You know, it's just a concept. Yes, people or a group of people created the corporation. Yes, they set the goals for the corporation. They even actively make the decisions that hurt people. But does that mean that they're evil? No, I don't think so. I really don't think that makes people evil. But I do believe that they're responsible for their actions, and I believe that they should be held accountable. But the people controlling the corporations, and here's another illusion, right? The people controlling the corporations are being controlled by the corporation. What do I mean by that? Well, once the corporation is made, once the corporation becomes relied on as a source of income for so many people, once the corporation has partnered with other corporations and made promises to other corporations, the corporation is expected to behave in a way that it is said it would. It's expected to perform, it's obligated to perform the way it has promised it would. So the people feel compelled to keep the corporation alive, to protect their income. They have to keep the corporation alive to protect their income, because if they don't, not only do they lose their income, but they very likely would lose their house. They would lose their loved ones, or their spouse, if their spouse was that kind of person to leave over or something like that, but either way, people's lives have fallen apart before because they've lost their job. People have grown desperate to keep their jobs, especially now. It's of the utmost importance that you have stable income to exist in this world at the moment. Now, I'm not somebody who believes humans are perfect. People are capable of great evil when they feel backed into a corner. I've done some less than desirable and less than admirable things when I felt backed into a corner, done and said things that I would have gone back and changed in a heartbeat, that I deeply regret, and I'm sure many of you have as well. That being said, there's another question we have to ask. Is it the corporate CEOs, or is it the corporation itself that's the problem? It's neither. Both are a result of capitalism. Remove money and the word capitalism, the word corporation loses its meaning. Remove money and CEOs lose their title. Remove money and capitalism disappears. So then it begs another question. Is capitalism the problem, or is money the problem? Well, I think money is the problem. Let me tell you why. Currency in general is the problem. Okay, and that includes barter and trade. Because any form of currency, including barter and trade, allows for the evolution of a class system, for the existence of a class system. If there is currency, even if that currency is tire spokes, there will be those who have more tire spokes and those who have less tire spokes. Those that have more will have an unfair advantage. Those that have less will be at an unfair disadvantage. So currency splits human societies into classes. And no, it's not the way that currency is used that does this. It is the existence and reliance and utilization as a means of trade. It is the existence of currency in that form that creates the problem, that splits us into classes. Now, those that feel they have a disproportionate probability of climbing the ladder will look for someone or something to blame. They'll become depressed. They're more likely to lash out at society. They're more likely to harm others or to resort to crime. Okay? And then people will often ask, but couldn't we just fix the system, right? Couldn't we just pass new laws or change the ones that are already there? Couldn't we just vote or protest or do a sit-in or boycott or whatever? Well, how has that worked out so far? It hasn't. We can't just fix the system. We've been trying to just fix the system for decades, and we've gotten nowhere. In fact, things have gotten worse. We can't fix a system that is foundationally flawed by mending cracks at the surface. It's not going to work. The only way to fix this system, after it's accrued this much damage, after it's done this much damage to human society, is to build a new one and let the old one die. That's the only way it's going to happen. We have a system currently that is run and operated by crooked men through the utilization of corporate reinforcement. They know what they want. They know they can't get it unless we want it too. And they know that we would never want it if we truly knew what they wanted. Right? Which is the centralization of power into their hands so that they can control every single conceivable choice that we could make at any given moment, because they think themselves kings and they want to sit on a throne. They think they're royalty. Okay, they think that they're blue bloods. They think they have some special blood that is passed down from an ancient lineage. They think that they're these descendants of ancient Sumerian priest kings that were gifted this power of ruling over the people. You know, they genuinely believe that they are royalty and that they deserve to control every single person on this earth. I'm not kidding. Look it up. Do your research. But they want us to do this. They want to sit on a throne, and they want us to unquestioningly bust our asses to appease their every whim. You know? And for those of you who think that I'm just another conspiracy theorist, let me run something by you, okay? A child will never understand a rapist. Someone that isn't a murderer, who has never thought of murdering another person, will never understand why a murderer does what a murderer does. Why would somebody go to such lengths, kill so many people, manipulate so many minds, cause so much suffering? Why would they do that just to control another person? I've been asked this question many times. Okay? And my answer is and will always be, because there is no need for a better one. This is the only answer you could really give, unless you're an intellectual who has spent their life researching and you have all the answers. But I don't. This is the answer I can give. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't. And I've never wanted to. Not that I've never wanted to know. I've never wanted to murder somebody or control somebody. I've never wanted to. So I can't understand. I can't fathom why somebody else would want to do that. I've never wanted to take another person's life or rape somebody. So I can't put myself in those shoes. But that doesn't mean that murderers and rapists don't exist. You know, we have this poisonous paradigm in our society. This "I'll believe it when I see it" nonsense. You know, I bet you've never seen with your own eyes the birth of a flea, or the deepest part of the ocean, or the dark side of the moon. But does that mean that fleas don't reproduce, or that the ocean is bottomless, or that the moon only has one side? No, it's not at all what that means. It just means you've never seen it. But does that mean that it's impossible to believe? No. So why is it impossible to believe that there could be somebody at the top, and that person at the top of the pyramid is the one controlling everyone else, or that group of people at the top of the pyramid are the ones controlling everyone else, and that they are responsible for everything that happens, regardless of whether it's a result of negligence or if it's a result of true planning? You know, their actions have consequences. And I'm sure a lot of you would say, you can't put all that weight on somebody. You know, people make mistakes. People make mistakes. Well, that's true. People do make mistakes. So why would it be okay for somebody or a group of somebodies to claim the right to control other people knowing that they make mistakes? I don't want to be subjected to the mistakes somebody else's make, to the consequences of those mistakes, against my free will. I don't want my children to be subjected to their mistakes against their free will. Nobody should have to be subjected to anybody else's mistakes against their free will. If I go out and I do something stupid, and I caused that thing to happen, nobody else should suffer because of the thing that I did. I should be the only one made to bear those consequences, and that is it. Unless there was somebody else that was complicit in my idiocy. I should be the only one to bear those consequences. But when somebody else claims the right to control people, when somebody else claims the right to govern or to assert their will upon people's lives, then they take the God-given right that only God has to determine the course of your life. And I say only God has because I believe that God is in us and all around us. And no, I don't believe in a floating light in the sky that, grants wishes and gives you everything you want because you talk to it. No, but I do believe that there is an emanating field of energy, and it's coming from this central point of consciousness. I believe that consciousness came first, and that everything else came next, because the complexity of reality itself, the complexity of everything that exists, could only come from a conscious creator. I believe that there is a source energy, and you can call it source, you can call it whatever you want to call it, awareness, consciousness, whatever you want to call it. I call it God because it's more easily relatable by people who, by all walks of life, whether you be religious or not. It's easier to relate to the word, so I call it God. Okay. But I do believe that there is that energy. Okay. To get back on topic, something that's pretty controversial, that I've noticed is pretty controversial. When I say it, people react negatively. But that doesn't mean it doesn't need to be said or that it doesn't need to be heard. We are all slaves. You see, capitalism is the jagged post, the jagged wooden post, the foundation upon which you suffer. The lies you believe are the chains that rob you of your freedom. The money is the whip. The whip that keeps you in check. That reminds you that you're only as good as the scars you get when you try to escape. And that is not a system I want to raise my children in. I don't want you to have to raise your children in it. Even if you have no children, no spouse, no nothing, I don't want you to have to deal with that, to live in that, to have those restrictions placed upon you. I wouldn't wish it upon my worst enemy. Yet, it's the reality we face. But we have options. We have ways to escape. Okay? We do, and they'll work. We have ways that will work, I promise. I will make that promise, and I will be the one that you can look at and say, hey, John, it failed. You were wrong. I'll gladly accept that responsibility and gladly accept that consequence. But I have faith that it will work, that there are things that will work. Okay. Now, I'll name two of those things before I part ways with you. One of them, look into the Venus Project. Look it up, do your research, okay? It's viable. The other one is one that I've talked about before. It's one that I draw my conclusions in regards to the way we should structure society from, and that is the UBUNTU Contributionism movement, founded by Michael Tellinger. Look that up. Do your research on that. I've linked the book a couple times in the description of my past videos, and so you can find it there, and I'll link it again. And I usually I usually link the website as well in the description, and I will do so again in this video, so you can go look that up. But all I can say is I'm going to keep talking about this stuff, and I'm not going anywhere. So stick with me, and I will tell you all the ways in which we can change our fate. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit the bell to stay notified of upcoming videos. Leave a comment. Let me know what you thought about the video. That will help me get better at doing what I do. And it'll give me some insight into what you guys would like to hear me talk about. Until next time. Actually, before I log off. Yeah, you thought I was done. I probably shouldn't have started because you probably already clicked off the video. Now come back. I got something to tell you. Upcoming topics. The next video will be about a more sustainable community, and I will be going in depth. Some of the things that I discussed here, whatever I didn't discuss, will be there, and more. The minority rule system. I told you in a video a while back that I would be talking about the minority rule system, so I have worked that into my upcoming topics. Then, indoctrination camps. Is working together possible? Can we accept total upheaval? And taking the next steps. Now, in each video, okay, I am going to be talking about taking next steps at least a little bit, and it'll be working up to the actual video of taking the next steps, in which I will make a lot of propositions, maybe even a lot of promises, and talk about what I want to do going forward with this channel, because I don't want this to just be some random YouTube channel, some podcast that you listen to on your way to work. I have goals, I have ambitions, I want to be a part of changing the world, and I want you to be a part of it with me. So, that will all be revealed in time. Stick with me to find out more. Until next time, get together with people in your community. Plan, coordinate, build a better future. That's the goal. Build a better world for humanity. One that's way better than the one we're in now, because God, we deserve it. And have a good day. Goodbye.